You know, I've been starting to wonder what I'm doing here, what I'm really doing here. I mean, I sit up at night smoking a cigarette, staring at the stars, and I just think, gods, is this really it? Is this my life? Is this the culmination of the work I've put into, of all that I've done? I've got to tell you, the screaming is getting louder. Any hoodles today will be talking about how to get a girlfriend. Now, as all the little charmats know, I of course have no problems in this regard. I simply snap my fingers and the baddies appear. Conjuration 100. But I know there are some of you sleepers who have not yet mastered Kim, and so are yet unable to score themselves a, quote, 8-ball of free base. Fear not, however, as the great of House Dagoth has you covered, homie. Step 1. Finding a mate. Now this is actually one of the harder steps for those of us with any kind of standards whatsoever. For some baser races, lacking intelligence and relying solely on instinct, anything with the opposite anatomy will usually do. This includes, of course, Argonians, Khajiit, and to some extent the United States Marine Corps. Everyone has their personal tastes, of course, but you must also keep in mind what quote-unquote league you're in. The only time a 2 is getting a 10 is when the 2 has a net worth in the billions and owns the greater half of Black Marsh. Now, as an example, I myself, being a god, have my pick of the litter. But even so, I have my personal preferences and types that I look for. Those being that she is a female, optional, and a Dunmer, as I find the idea of sleeping with other races quite disturbing. Step 2. The approach. Now this all depends on the location of where you have first scouted your potential mate. If you're in a tavern, ask to buy her a drink. And if you've been invited to a party, strike up some conversation. Start with something you notice and build from there. As an example, I recently stumbled into a victim at a small tavern in Vivek City. I was sightseeing Leave Me Alone. Anyway, I had first noticed her from across the bar several weeks ago, the bar meaning of course her house, which I had found online, and then tracked her like a Knicks hound to this tavern, which I knew she'd be at every Tuesday at 9 p.m. So, anyway, I approached her and used what I call the Dagoth method, which stands for distract, agitate, gestate, obsess, triumph, and finally hightail. Now this begins by me silently standing behind her staring until she turns around and I thrust a phone in her face with a number pad. She of course enters it immediately. Why? Because I'm 6'7" and I could probably kill her instantly, and since I don't go after intellectually inferior races, she knows this. I have mastered the female mind, you see. I know that fear will drive them initially, but eventually the sense of danger that I radiate like a Chernobyl reactor will intoxicate them. It also helps that I give them corpus and have spent the last 3 weeks in their dreams getting, how you say, busy. This both distracts and agitates her at the same time. Not all you little ash spawn will have this same luck, I'm afraid, so feel free to more apparently separate these first 2 parts of the method. Step 3. The first date. Now that you've gotten their number and are established firmly as dangerous, potentially violent, and a moderately attractive future mate, it's time to move on to gestation. This will involve doing small things and slowly building her trust in you, slowly building the foundation of your relationship. This begins with the first date. Realistically, any place will do so long as it involves her complete and total dependency on you. I like to take my dates to the chimpanzee exhibit and then loose the little psychos who will immediately charge her since I taped bananas to her back when she wasn't looking. I will then, of course, swoop in and save her, solidifying my place as a dependable male suitor as well as my rank as head chimp among the troop. As she watches me rip one of those little monkeys in half with my bare hands, her brain will realize that, number 1, I could do that to her, so don't fail to amuse me. And number 2, I have saved her life, and so she is now trauma bonded to me. Step 4. The relationship. Now that she's firmly within your grasp, the next part will deal with obsession and triumph. Watching me separate chimp heads from shoulders will of course awaken her baser instincts, and this combined with the small acts of kindness I do for her, such as allowing her to clean after meals, having her make all the meals, allowing her the honor of washing my loincloth, and finally polishing my mask, will slowly drive her into obsession of me. With a few more chimp dates, the process is complete. I am now at the triumph section. She will do anything for me. Her complete and total dependency is now at its summit, and should I ask it, she would jump into Red Mountain for me, which of course will be pretty useful later. Now this is usually where I make her my brood queen, and we lead then our army of chimps across Tamriel in what is known to the mortals as the Rumbling. Step 5. Hightail. Pretty self-explanatory here. Once she has served her purpose to you, it is of course time to leave and start the cycle over again. Any method will do here. I usually just make them an ash zombie and then get on with my day, but sometimes it can be entertaining to be a little more creative with how you do it. There was this one mate that I told I would share the power of the heart of Lorcan with her, but only if she brought back the foreskin of Hermaeus Mora. So pretty confident I'd never see her again, I went on with my day. Well man, I shit you not. She shows up 3 weeks later covered in green tentacle goo with a small paper bag labeled for Dagoth, written inside a small, anatomically correct, drawn heart. Needless to say, I immediately infected her with blight and cast her like Gollum into Red Mountain. Never date a redhead, trust me on this. I hope this has been an educational lesson in how to probe into and eventually dominate the female mind. Keep in mind I am always watching my little Sharmats. Go forth and do the 6th house and the tribe unmourned honor. But remember, first and foremost, women love a bad Dagoth. Nice urs do unfortunately finish last.